Julian Assange, a real gangster in the world of journalism and digital activism. He rose to global prominence as the founder of WikiLeaks, the controversial platform known for publishing classified information from anonymous sources. He was a skilled hacker from an early age. In his teens, he was accused of stealing $500,000 from Citibank. Born in Australia in 1971, Assange's work has sparked intense debate over issues of transparency, privacy, and national security. His most notable release was a trove of United States military and diplomatic documents in 2010, garnered both praise for exposing government malfeasance and criticism for potentially endangering lives. WikiLeaks, a website that shared thousands of documents exposing the American armed forces and government for war crimes and other wrongdoings throughout their invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan. One major leak being the video footage of an American airstrike murdering civilians and news reporters. This week, after 1901 days in the British Belmarsh prison, he has been released and sent back to the US. He was previously facing 175 years of imprisonment in the States, but he has now been able to reach an agreement with the US, meaning he will face none of those years. The debate of whether he was a journalist exposing corruption and malpractice at state level, or he was recklessly compromising Americans' interests and the lives of their officers in the field, is a complex one. For us at the politics playground, he is very obviously exposing a government that previously never had to own up to the destruction they caused in the Middle East. Julian Assange's work through WikiLeaks has been lauded for transparency and accountability, who argue that his revelations shed light on the often opaque machinations of the American government. By publishing classified documents, Assange exposed instances of governmental overreach, human rights violations and corruption, forcing a global reckoning with the principles of democracy and freedom. His disclosures, particularly those relating to the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, revealed the stark realities and unintended consequences of US foreign policy, prompting calls for greater oversight and ethical conduct. Supporters contend that Assange's fearless journalism serves as a crucial check on power, advocating for a more informed and just society. The American government's response to Julian Assange's revelations has been marked by a concerted effort to seek retribution against the WikiLeaks founder. Beyond the legal pursuit, Assange's supporters argue that a systematic effort to discredit him was undertaken, painting him as a reckless criminal rather than a crusader for transparency. Allegations ranging from sexual misconduct to hacking further complicated his public image, with many viewing these charges as part of a broader strategy to undermine his credibility and neutralize his influence. This multifaceted assault, critics assert, underscores the lengths to which powerful entities will go to silence dissent and maintain control over sensitive information. After so long avoiding extradition, his supporters and loved ones will no doubt be relieved at the end of this saga. It makes sense that he accepted the deal, one man says, given the appalling conditions that he's been held in. The fact that he has been deprived of seeing his 2 small children and wife for 5 years, often left in a cell for 23 hours a day. I think it's shocking that the United States has insisted on that when he has not breached the Espionage Act. His family have also said that his physical and mental health were deteriorating for a number of years. For the US and Joe Biden's administration, it makes sense to wrap things up. In April, Biden said that he was considering dropping the charges and extradition attempt against Assange, avoiding the complications and potential loss of a court case in the UK that could drag on through the most crucial part of the election race. Pursuing the charges against Assange was becoming damaging for Biden, when a big part of his platform this campaign has been about providing a guardrail against Donald Trump's attacks on democracy and freedom of speech. The quiet but forceful diplomatic pressure from Australia has also played a significant role in securing the release of Assange. Australian politicians have long expressed their opposition to the extradition charge and lobbied for a plea deal. Due to Assange's work, it is important to research whether the leaked documents cost lives. Kana Ross, a former UK diplomat at the United Nations, told the BBC that the effects of WikiLeaks were largely unknowable at this point. I don't think it has been proven that this is dangerous to US troops, for instance. I haven't seen that case made very clearly, he said. What I think this means is that we need to look at our own mechanisms for democratic accountability and foreign policy. We need to be much, much better. One thing the experts appear to agree on is that the leaks will make it more difficult for US diplomats and human intelligence operatives to do their jobs. Although that does not present an immediate threat to American lives, strained international relations may create a more dangerous world. In order to ensure Julian's release and safety, he has signed a plea deal with the American government. Assange will plead guilty to a felony charge under the US Espionage Act of conspiring to unlawfully obtain and disseminate classified information relating to the national defense of the United States. The letter details. The charge carries a sentence of 62 months in prison. But under the deal, the time he has already served in prison in the UK, which is more than 62 months, will be counted against the sentence. So Assange will not need to spend any more time behind bars in the US, the UK, or anywhere else. This could have many negative repercussions for future journalists, but it could have been worse. The result is an ambiguous end to a legal saga that has jeopardized the ability of journalists to report on military, intelligence, or diplomatic information that officials deem secret. Enshrined in the First Amendment, the role of a free press in bringing to light information beyond what those in power approve for release is a foundational principle of American self-government. The agreement means that for the first time in American history, gathering and publishing information the government considers secret has been successfully treated as a crime. This new precedent will send a threatening message to national security journalists, who may be chilled in how aggressively they do their jobs because they will see a greater risk of prosecution. He's basically pleading guilty to things that journalists do all the time and need to do. And it will cast a shadow over press freedom, but not the same kind of a shadow that would have been cast by a judicial opinion holding that this activity is criminal and unprotected by the First Amendment. Well, good luck to Julian. Hopefully, this is not the last we have heard of him, but who could blame him if it is? I think I would need a sun lounger and a pint after what he's gone through. Thanks again from everyone at the Politics Playground. If you have enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and we will see you again soon.